is Miss McConnell. I'm here for some story time, and we are continuing with Sideways Stories from Wayside School. We are on chapter 24, and chapter 24 is about Damien. What is he doing? Damien had hazel eyes with a little black dot in the middle of each of them. The dots were called pupils. So was Damien. He was a pupil in Miss Jules' class. Miss Jules was about to show the class a movie. She turned out the lights. When it got dark, Damien's pupils got bigger. Damien, said Miss Jules, run downstairs and ask Louis if he'd like to see the movie with us. Damien ran down the 30 flights of stairs to the playground. He stepped outside as Louis was hooking up a tetherball. Hey, Louis, Damien called. Do you want to see a movie in Miss Jules' class? Louis rubbed his chin. What movie? He asked. Damien shrugged his shoulders. I don't know, he said. I'll be right back. Damien ran all the way back up the stairs to the 30th story. Louis wants to know what movie, said Damien. Does he want to know the name of the movie or what the movie is about? Asked Miss Jules. I don't know, said Damien. I'll ask him. Damien raced back down the stairs and out to the playground. Louis, do you want to know the name of the movie or what the movie is about? He asked. The name, said Louis. Okay, said Damien. Damien hurried back up the 30 flights of stairs. He took 2 steps at a time. He wants to know the name, said Damien. Turtles, said Mrs. Jules. Damien turned around, took a deep breath, and then ran back down the stairs. Turtles, Damien told Louis. Hey, that might be good, said Louis. What is it about? I'm not sure, said Damien. I'll find out. Damien raced back up the stairs, but first he stopped to take a drink of water. What is it about, Miss Jules? Asked Damien. Turtles, said Miss Jules. Damien rushed back down the stairs to tell Louis. Turtles, said Damien. No thanks, said Louis. I don't like turtles. They're too slow. Damien lowered his head and slowly walked back up the 30 flights of stairs. His legs were sore, he could hardly breathe, and his side ached. By the time he got up to Miss Jules' class, the movie was over. All right, class, said Miss Jules. I want everybody to take out a piece of paper and a pencil and write something about turtles. Damien had missed the movie, but he still could have written something about turtles. Turtles are slow, but now he couldn't find his pencil. It just wasn't his day. What's the matter, Damien? Asked Mrs. Jules. I can't find my pencil, said Damien. Class, Damien's pencil is missing, Mrs. Jules announced. What did it look like, Damien? She asked. It was long and yellow, said Damien. It had a black point at one end and a red eraser at the other. I found it, said Todd. Here it is by the blackboard. Yes, that's it, said Damien. No, there it is, in the corner by the wastebasket, said Crabapple. Maybe that's it, said Damien. Here it is, said John. It's been in my desk the whole time. No, here it is in my hand, said Joe. I found it, said Rondi. Here it is, said Allison. I have it, laughed GJ. I found it, said Myron. Which one is yours, Damien? Asked Miss Jules. Damien studied each pencil. They all look like mine, he said. Fortunately, at that moment, Louis walked into the classroom. He handed Damien a pencil. You dropped this when you were telling me about the movie, said Louis. Thanks, said Damien. Okay, class, said Miss Jules. So now that we have no more mix-ups, I want everybody to write his name on his pencil. Damien spent the rest of the day trying to write his name on his pencil. Damien's pencil couldn't write on itself. It was just like his beautiful hazel eyes with the black dots in the middle. They could see everything except themselves. Chapter 25 is Jenny. What is Jenny doing? Jenny came to school on the back of her father's motorcycle. She was late. Wayside School began at 9 o'clock. It was almost 9:30. She kissed her father goodbye and raced up the 30 flights of stairs to Miss Jules' room. I'm sorry I'm late, Miss Jules, but my father's motorcycle lost a... There was nobody there. The room was empty. Hello, hello, she cried. Miss Jules, Dana, Todd, anyone? There was no one in the room. Maybe I'm early, Jenny thought. She looked up at the clock. It was exactly 9:30. Oh, I hope they didn't go on a field trip without me. She looked out the window. Nobody was there, not even Louis. Jenny didn't know what to do. She sat down at her desk. She watched the school hand go around the clock. I might as well catch up on my spelling, she thought. She opened her desk and took out her speller. M-U-D spells mud. Where is everybody? B-L-O-O-D spells blood. I hope nothing happened to them. B-L-A-C-K spells black. Jenny heard footsteps coming down the hall. She began to work very fast. H-A-C-K spells hack. S-M-A-C-K spells smack. Someone opened up the door. Jenny turned around. Ack! She gasped. He was a man Jenny had never seen before. He had a black mustache and a matching attaché case. That's like a business case, like a briefcase. Jenny jumped out of her seat. Get back in your seat, the man said. Jenny slowly sat down. The man walked over and sat down in Dana's seat, facing Jenny. He opened his attaché case and removed some papers. What is your name? He asked her. Jenny, Jenny whispered. Jenny? The man repeated as if he didn't believe her. Well, it's actually Jennifer. Jenny for short, said Jenny. I see, said the man. He took the speller from Jenny's desk. Jenny's name was written across the top. He put the speller in his attaché case. What are you doing here, Jennifer? He asked. This is my classroom, said Jenny. Are you sure? The man asked. Yes, I think so. I mean, where is the rest of your class? The man asked. I don't know, said Jenny. Maybe they went on a field trip. No, said the man. They didn't go on a field trip. Well, I don't know where they are, Jenny cried. I was half an hour late today, and when I got here, everybody was gone. Really? Did something happen to them? The man didn't answer her. He wrote something on a piece of paper. Tell me something, Jennifer. When you came to school today and saw that nobody was here, weren't you somewhat puzzled? Yes, said Jenny. What happened to them? If you are really so concerned and puzzled, said the man, why did you work on spelling? I don't know, said Jenny. It would seem to me, the man said, that if a child came to school and nobody was there, she might play games or walk around or go home, but certainly not work on spelling. Jenny started to cry. I didn't know what to do. I was late and I had to ride on a motorcycle and nobody was here, and now you're asking me all kinds of questions. And I'm afraid of what happened to Dana and Mrs. Jules and Rondi and Allison. The man didn't understand a word she said. Jenny heard more footsteps. The man got up and opened the door. 2 more men came in. One had a black mustache like the first man. The other man was bald. Jenny was frightened by them. Does she know? Asked the newcomer with the mustache. She claims she knows nothing, the first man answers. She says she was late today, and when she got here, everybody was gone. Do you believe her? Asked the man with the bald head. I'm not sure. She was working on her spelling when I walked in. He reached into his attaché case and took out Jenny's speller. He handed it to the man with the bald head. The bald man read Jenny's name across the top of it. Tell me, Jenny, he said, why are you the only one here? I don't know, said Jenny. Has this ever happened before? He asked. No, never, said Jenny. He gave Jenny her speller. Put this inside your desk. Jenny put it away. I'm satisfied, said the man with the bald head. Okay, Jennifer, said the first man. You may go now. Jenny got out of her seat. Jenny, the bald man called. Jenny turned slowly around. Yes, she whispered. Next time, don't come to school on a Saturday. Were you expecting that? Were you expecting that at all? My goodness. This is chapter 26. Terrence. Terrence was a good athlete, but a bad sport. Rondi and Allison were playing 2-square with a red ball. Can I play? Asked Terrence. No, Allison replied. You have to let me play, Terrence said. Lewis says we all have to share. Oh, well, we're not sharing with you, said Allison. Oh, let him play, said Rondi. All right, said Allison. We'll play 3-square. You better play. You better play it right. I will, said Terrence. Allison bounced the ball to Rondi. Rondi bounced it over to Terrence. Terrence caught it and kicked it over the fence. You have to go get it, said Allison. Shut up, Dixie Cup, Terrence answered. Rondi ran and told Lewis. DJ and Damien were playing basketball. Uh-oh, here comes Terrence, said Damien. Hey, let me play, said Terrence. Get lost, Terrence, said Damien. You have to share. Lewis says so, said Terrence. Okay, but just throw it in the basket. Don't kick it, said Damien. I won't, said Terrence. First, Damien took a shot. It bounced off the backboard and through the hoop. Next, DJ took a shot. He threw it underhand way up in the air. It came down through the hoop without touching the rim. Then Terrence took a shot. He kicked it over the fence. Terrence, said Damien. Take a train, peanut brain, Terrence answered. DJ went and told Lewis. Stephen, Calvin, Joe, John, and Leslie were playing Spud. Stephen was it. Everyone else had a number. Stephen had to throw the ball up in the air and call out a number. The person who had that number had to try to catch it. Can I play? Asked Terrence. No, said Calvin. You'll just kick the ball over the fence. No, said Joe. No way, said John. No, said Leslie. Sure, said Stephen. Newcomers are it. He gave the ball to Terrence. Just throw the ball up in the air and call out a number between 1 and 5. Okay, said Terrence. The children formed a circle around Terrence. A million! Yelled Terrence as he kicked the ball over the fence. What did you do that for? Asked Stephen. Eat a frog, warthog, said Terrence. Stephen ran and told Lewis. Terrence looked around. There was nothing to do. There were no balls left. Lewis walked up to him. He was followed by Allison, Rondi, Damien, DJ, Stephen, Calvin, Joe, John, and Leslie. What's the matter, Terrence? Asked Lewis. There are no balls, said Terrence. Do you have a green ball? No, said Lewis. All my balls have mysteriously disappeared. Darn it, said Terrence. There is nothing left to kick. Nothing left to kick? Asked Lewis. Oh, I don't know about that. What do you think, Rondi? Is there anything left to kick? Rondi thought a minute. Then she smiled. She was missing her 2 front teeth. Yes, there is something left to kick, she said. Well, where is it? Let me check with Allison, said Lewis. Allison, is there anything left to kick? He winked at her. There sure is, said Allison. What? Said Terrence. How about you, Damien? Asked Lewis. Can you think of anything? Damien nodded his head. Yes. Well, what is it? Said Lawrence. He couldn't wait. DJ, we got anything around here to kick? Said Lewis. DJ smiled. Yes, we do, he said. Give it to me, Terrence demanded. I don't know if I should, said Lewis. What do you think, Calvin? Should I give it to him? I think you should, said Calvin. You heard Calvin, said Terrence. Give it to me. Not so fast, said Lewis. Leslie, should I give it to him? Oh, yes, I think he deserves it, said Leslie. Give it to me, Terrence repeated. Do you also think he deserves it, Joe? Asked Lewis. Yes, I think so. What about you, John? Asked Lewis. Definitely give it to him, John answered. Come on, said Terrence. Recess is almost over. We'll leave it up to Stephen, said Lewis. Whatever he says goes. Let him have it, said Stephen. You heard him, Lewis, said Terrence. Let me have it. Okay, said Lewis. He picked Terrence up and kicked him over the fence. Chapter 27, Joy. Burp. Joy's burping. That's so rude. Joy had forgotten her lunch at home. It was lunchtime. She was hungry. She didn't have a meal ticket. If she had had a meal ticket, she could have had a lunch from Miss Mush, the lunch teacher. She'd have to be terribly hungry to eat a lunch made by Miss Mush. Even an empty brown paper sack would taste better. But that's how hungry Joy was. Damien hadn't forgotten his lunch. He brought a lovely turkey sandwich, a big piece of chocolate cake, and a crisp red apple. All he needed was a glass of milk. He could get that from Miss Mush. Miss Mush didn't know how to ruin milk. Damien left his lunch on the desk and went to the end of the milk line. Joy didn't waste any time. She reached into Damien's sack and took out the apple. But then she spotted the turkey sandwich. She put back the apple, took out the sandwich, and noticed the chocolate cake. She put back the sandwich and took out the cake. But then Joy had a second thought. She put back the cake. Then she grabbed Damien's whole lunch. First, she ate the sandwich. It was in a baggie. When she finished the sandwich, she placed the baggie on Jason's desk. Next, she ate the chocolate cake. It was wrapped in wax paper. She put the wax paper on Allison's desk. She ate the apple last. She placed the apple core on Dee Dee's desk. Then she put the empty sack on Calvin's desk. Damien returned with his glass of milk. Miss Jules, my lunch is gone, he called. I wonder where it could be, said Miss Jules. Calvin took it, said Joy. There's the empty sack on his desk. Good work, Joy, said Miss Jules. Calvin, I'm ashamed of you. She wrote Calvin's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Look, the baggie from Damien's turkey sandwich is on Jason's desk, Joy called. Very good, Joy, said Miss Jules. But how did you know that Damien had a turkey sandwich? I'm just smart, said Joy. Miss Jules wrote Jason's name on the blackboard under Calvin's. And there's wax paper from the delicious chocolate cake on Allison's desk, Joy announced. Joy had chocolate all around her lips. Allison stood firm. She looked in Miss Jules' eyes. I didn't eat his cake, she said. The evidence is there on your desk, said Miss Jules. Joy spotted it. She wrote Allison's name under Jason's. Damien's apple core is on Dee Dee's desk, said Joy. Very good, Joy, said Miss Jules. She wrote Dee Dee's name under Allison's. Damien, you ought to thank Joy, said Miss Jules. She solved the mystery. Thank you, Joy, said Damien. Then Lewis, the yard teacher, walked in. I have your lunch, Joy, he said. Your mother brought it. You left it at home. You mean you didn't have a lunch? Asked Miss Jules. You must be very hungry. No, said Joy, not really. Since Damien didn't get to eat, he can have it. Thanks a lot, said Damien. You're the greatest. He ate Joy's lunch, an old bologna sandwich and a dried up carrot. Joy, for being such a good detective and for being so generous with your lunch, you may help yourself to a Tootsie Roll Pop, said Mrs. Jules. They are in the coffee can on top of my desk. Joy took one. Then, when Miss Jules wasn't looking, she took another. Calvin, Jason, Allison, and Dee Dee had their names on the blackboard under the word discipline. But they were good the rest of the day. So at 2 o'clock, Miss Jules erased them. They forgot all about the whole thing. Damien had a lousy lunch instead of a great lunch, but 5 minutes later it didn't make any difference. He couldn't taste it anymore, and he was full. He went outside to play basketball and forgot about the whole thing. Joy had a great lunch and 2 Tootsie Roll Pops. But 5 minutes later, it didn't make any difference. She couldn't taste it anymore, and she was full. And at dinner time, she was hungry just the same. But a horrible thing happened. Joy couldn't forget about filching Damien's lunch. Filching is a really good word. It means kind of stealing. About filching Damien's lunch. And for the rest of the year, every turkey sandwich, piece of cake, apple, and Tootsie Roll Pop tasted like Mrs. Mush's porridge. That's a great chapter about sometimes lying only hurts yourself. Everybody else might forget about it. The problem might be over, but you're going to be the one still sitting with that feeling of guilt because you lied. So important to be honest, even if, no matter what, really, it's so important to be honest. It's one of, the things that makes us caring about others and caring about ourselves, because in the end you'll feel so much better if you are not lying. All right, guys, that was a great section that we read. We have one more left. We're going to finish the book next time, and we have chapter 28, 29, and 30. So the last 3 stories of Wayside School. Can't wait. Bye.